to my channel. If you're new here, then hello, I am Kaya. Please hit that subscribe button down below if you've never seen my face before, and check out all the videos that I have done before. Now, today is a very, very exciting day because I am going to be talking to Nick Hutson, who has been very much great. I don't know what more to say than that, because he has created Theme Park the musical, and we are going to be chatting all about it. I'm very excited. So yeah, I'm just waiting for him to come on and then we shall get started. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fine, tired.
Me too.
I'm Nick Hutson. I'm a composer in the theme park attraction industry, and I've also written Theme Park Fan, the musical.
So, do you want to tell us what is actually happening tomorrow, and when is it, and where?
So we're treating this as a real musical as we can. So in England, the time shows start on an evening is 7:30. So at 7:30 on my YouTube channel, which I'm sure you'll link below, you can watch the world premiere of this musical, and it'll live there forever beyond that. And there's also a program that you can, the PDF program that you can look at. And if you've been really savvy, there should be a smell that will accompany the experience as well, from Aroma Prime. So it's all we're trying to, make it as theatrical as we can. So tomorrow, if you're watching this on the 5th of February, my YouTube channel at 7:30. Don't be late though, because we're not going to start the show again. It's one of those, it's no latecomers will be admitted.
Okay, so what can we actually expect from the premiere?
So it's an audio production. So what I've created is like a radio drama, like you'd hear on Radio 4, something like that, with sound effects, and just happens to have like 13 songs in it. And visually, you're going to get some 3D set visualizations. It's almost like a storyboard. So each scene has its own design. There's lighting moments. There's a great credit sequence, which I've just been sent, which is really exciting. Done by Wonderful Park Spill, which do amazing theme park videos. And yeah, so we didn't want to just, we love the show logo, but we didn't just want to have that up on the screen for an hour and 10 minutes. We wanted to have something to keep you engaged. And Kieran, who's done the set design, is an absolute genius. It's a 3D set, and he built it as if it were going into the Stoke Rep. So it's all actually, it all works as a working set does. You don't see that much animation because that would take ages to do, but there are a couple of nice moments in there, and just to give you a feel of the piece.
Nice, that's exciting. It sounds like it's been a very long process. Lots of coming in the making.
Yes, I mean, we're talking about 11 months. It was kind of March when I sat down and wrote the first song for this, which you've heard, and you got very excited when you heard it, which was lovely. And that kind of was the launching point for the show. I guess you'd say I wrote the first song 3 years ago, and that was I'm a Theme Park Fan, which was the kind of thing that people kept saying, do another version. So, okay, fine. Be careful what you wish for, because then you get this. And it's the last 5 weeks has been insane, because that's when we've recorded it and done it all remotely. No one has met anyone else, which is, A, weird, but B, we've been following the rules, which is good. But it's made, because of lockdown, it's made it so easy to do, in the fact that we can just have anyone re-record a line, change a line, and then send it in. So we were making changes up until about sort of 3 days ago, when we got the bombshell that Neil Patrick Harris has been added to it. So that kind of, we had to work around that. And it's been thrilling, because that's what theatre's all about. Musicals are never written, they're only rewritten.
Yeah.
And it's we're already looking at what to do with it next, but we need the audience to tell us what they think of it. So when you listen to it, keep in mind that this is a lockdown project, so various microphones might be different and things, and but you forgive us for that, because that's the situation we were in when we were recording it. That's hard to say. So yeah, it's been great fun. Not stressful, I'd say. What's the word? Like adrenaline fueled, I think. Lots of 2 o'clock in the morning meetings, and kind of I shouldn't be sleeping because I got stuff I'll get up, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll just do it. Lots of those moments.
So would you say that this has definitely kept you entertained during lockdown?
I would say it's kept me and many, many others entertained during lockdown, and I hope it will keep many more people entertained as they get to listen to it over and over again, because there's lots of like hidden Easter eggs in there for the real kind of aficionados of theme park, UK theme park fandom, I guess. Yes, it's kept me entertained, because I wrote it in March last year, then all the way through the summer, then kind of dipped off to do real work, and then picked it up again. And that was what really lit the fire, fed the flames, you could say, to kind of really inspire not only me but other people in it as well. And there's sort of like 40 people now being involved with this ridiculous show. It's insane.
So obviously you do musicals in general, so how did you manage to think of just like colliding the two worlds and then just like mixing them together?
Well, I've always thought there should be more. Well, for example, musicals and theme parks have always been a thing, because you can go to Disneyland and you can see an hour and 10-minute version of Frozen in a full decked out Broadway style theatre. The whole concept of theme parks is very theatrical, because it's based around scenery, lighting, sound effects, actors, storytelling, and being, the only difference is it's more promenade theatre because you're walking through it, but it's always been the same world. And so many people involved with the show love theme parks, and they love musicals, like you and like me. It's such a kind of, it's like, so you've got a heart. One is that bit and the other is that bit, and it just forms, a lovely image of what we both love. So there is that. And also with theme park fans, you're dealing with very interesting characters. So they're big, they're larger than life. So there's always an excuse for song, but you're also dealing with kind of large crowds as well, which we love in musicals, because they're always kind of, especially we set it during opening weekend in Blackpool, which is tomorrow. So it's weird that this show is coming out when we should all be in Blackpool. So it's kind of this weird alternative universe thing, which is why I encourage so many people to listen to it tomorrow night, because that's the best time, but you don't have to. You've got these larger than life characters and you've got these big crowds, and I think it works really well. Plus, if it were ever to be on stage, there's some great visual opportunities, with, I don't know if you've seen Book of Mormon, but the bit when the scene I mean?
Yeah.
When like he goes to Orlando and you have that amazing show cloth with like the Disney castle and a bit of Hulk in the background and Islands of Adventures logo and SeaWorld. So I theme parks are full of such great architecture masterpieces, and we put I don't think you've seen the set yet, Kai, but we put some quite, it's got a good landmark on the set, which it works really well for us.
I've heard lots of good things about this, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another way of, as I said, entertaining people as they watch this. And Kieran did an amazing job. So my invisible hat off to you, Kieran.
Did you know who you were going to get involved from the very start, or was that a very much?
Well, that's a great question. So I worked with. When I just started it was me. Then I spoke to my friend Owen about it, who is a great musician, and he has been part of the music team of me and Owen for since April of last year. And then my friend Ryan came on board, called Ryan Nixon, and he is musically theatre trained, funny enough, down the road from me. And he has an amazing vocal range. And he was like just coming up with ideas and this character, this new vlogger character called Jamie. And then it just kind of blended into Ryan was just going to play Jamie because it just made sense. So we kind of wrote the big songs he has specifically for his vocal range, which is the same as Elphaba in Wicked. So there's lots of belting D flats and stuff. So it's which is very impressive considering he's a man. And we played to his strengths. And then it was just going to be an album performed by Owen, narrated by Coasterbot, with Ryan as well. But then the more people that my core friends I was talking about, they said, oh, I love a part. Can I have a part? I can sing. And then it just became, okay, well, this is about the UK theme park community coming together. Let's make it about the UK theme park community coming together. And the bittersweet thing is without lockdown, this wouldn't have happened. So it's kind of this lovely, ideal storm of people putting so much time and effort into this. And I'm just blown away by the talent of people involved. For me, being in my head to kind of it exploding into this kind of mammoth display of talent, it's just wonderful. Everything from the artwork to Kieran, to John Burton, who has worked for Thorpe Park and Alton Towers, who's designed the show logo, to the heavy guitar stuff is done by Luke from Coastergen and Serena Cherry from Svalbard. It's all these kind of, every single person involved in this is a theme park fan, but they are also, they're musicians or they're artists or they're singers or they're graphic designers. And it's just the perfect kind of, collaborative effort, which is what I love about musicals.
So lockdown's been pretty bittersweet for everyone, I think, but I think a lot of people are very much like not riding on seeing this, but it's going to help a lot of people because obviously you're doing it on Blackpool opening weekend, or what should have been. So I think for a lot of people, I think everyone's going to feel the same in the sense of, I know I definitely do, but in the sense of like, we're all very excited and it's going to be an experience of what reality is going to be like when it does actually open.
I mean, it's weird when I talk to you and when I talk to others, I forget that there are kind of real people out there who weren't involved with the show, who are excited about this. And you kind of have to step back and think, oh, people are relying on this to kind of not cheer them up, but to kind of put them in a kind of theme parky mood when we're so missing the parks. And that's great. I hope we've done the best that we can. We don't know because, as you know, if you chip away at something, you don't know how it works. You have to present that entire product fresh to people, which is what we're doing on Saturday. People that have heard stuff from the show, whether it's you or other people we talk to, they are smiling from ear to ear. And that means that we've done something right. And people say, oh, I got goosebumps and you've done this and done that. So I think we've done a good job. I don't know. It's up to you, the people, lovely people watching this, to let us know what you think of it, because there could be a future in this, whether it's a film or whether it's put on stage somewhere. Ultimately, in Blackpool would be the kind of the ultimate immersive experience. You don't need smell pods there; just open the windows. But yeah, so it's great that people are excited for it, and I'm thrilled that we waited to release it at this weekend. There's absolutely no coincidence that it is being released, because we would have done it anyway, whether Blackpool was happening or not. It just so happens, sadly, that it's not, but it should be, and now it kind of is, which is weird.
Yeah, it seems so surreal because I found this out, like I knew nothing about it until only a few months ago, and then obviously then we started to talk about it, and then you sent me a few sneak peeks, and that just got me so like invested in it. And a lot of people that I've spoken to about it have gone, oh, I didn't necessarily know very much about it, but now I do. And now obviously you've done a lot of interviews and other people have done a lot of interviews with lots of different YouTubers, and we found out so much about it enough to be very much like, we want to see it, we want to see it, but not enough to kind of like know everything. It's so crazy.
I mean, there's a couple of songs that we're keeping very under the hoods because it's we don't want to reveal everything. We haven't revealed any of the set publicly because I think that's going to be a nice surprise. But you've got to find that fine balance between, like, here's a 30-second clip of the opening, which went on BBC Radio Lancashire, or just to get people excited for it. But you don't hear of a magic show and then see the greatest illusion of the magic show in the trailer, do you? Or you don't have the, so I mean, it's only an hour and 9 minutes long, so it's not going to take up your whole day or evening. So it's difficult trying to choose what to play people because there isn't 27 songs to choose from, but I think we found the right balance. And when this goes out on Saturday, the whole thing will be available. I'm getting asked a lot, will we be releasing it on like Spotify and Apple Music? We would love to, but because it was a lockdown recording, the quality of it all doesn't match some other people. So we want to, when we can, go into a studio or send someone into a studio to just bash through their lines with a proper setup. And then, yes, we'll certainly release it on streaming services and things, because it'd be lovely to have album out there.
So did you ever think that you were going to get this far? I know obviously you kind of thought, oh yeah, well, this is kind of something that I would want to do, but did you ever think that so many people would be so invested in it, or did you just think, oh yeah?
I didn't think so many people would be involved in it. That's been the real joy, and obviously taking a lot of pressure off me. But I thought people would be excited to hear it. I mean, as I said, I'm glad I waited, because I could have just released my dreadful demos and just said, here's the thing that might exist one day. And I'm glad we went from it being a concept album to it being, this is a musical. This is a online musical that's become so popular in the last year. And I think it's a new genre of theatre that's going to pop up. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
I agree.
I'm glad that we've been involved in that, and it's great that it can work just by listening to it when you're out for a run, or eventually when it's on the stage. It works, or in the film thing that we're looking at, it works in all media. Medium, I guess. Media, no. So it's been great fun to have so many people involved. I love the fact that so many are excited about it. It might not have the reach that Phantom does or Wicked does, because it is a very niche subject. And the thing to do when we look in the future is, how do we make it have broad appeal? And there's certain things you'd have to do with the characterization and the story arc. Certainly would have to be longer, which gives you more opportunity to flesh the characters out. But I think we've done, considering we had our read through 5 weeks ago and we're releasing a recording of an hour musical tomorrow, I think we've done incredibly well. And it shows how amazing technology is, and it shows how talented so many people are and how dedicated they are to this particular show.
Who's your favourite character out of all this?
Okay, so there's a character in it called the Yenrav, which is amazingly played by Owen, and it's a really fun character. He has the biggest song in the show. It's 8.5 minutes long, and it's not a song, it's what we call a musical scene. And he runs the local scare attraction, I'll say that. And it's just great. Owen does such an amazing performance, and Kieran's set for that sequence is amazing. It's just, it's kind of the big moment of the show. And it would work so well on stage. It's got jump scares and fire and strobe lights, and it would just be, and in a way that was the most collaborative song, because I wrote it, Owen recorded it, Owen recorded the accordion and the guitar, and then Serena recorded her guitar part, and then Owen mixed the heavy rock bit and played some bass and drums on it as well. And then Kieran did the most. So in a way, it's kind of the most. It was the most difficult thing. I mean, it's easy to write I think. I can't remember, 'cause it's so long ago, but it was kind of, you know, and it has Pontus from Liseberg in it, and it has Owen in it, and it has Ryan in it, and it has Lear in it, who plays Costa Cassie. So it's the biggest, and it has Michael Bolton in it, and it has my friends Chris and Nikki in it. So it's kind of this big production number that literally just comes out of nowhere in the show. And I hope I haven't revealed too much.
It's definitely something for everyone, I feel like.
Yeah.
Everything that I've heard so far has been very different from each other, but also the same. And I really like that. I really enjoy that. And I think a lot of people, that's going to draw a lot of people in. And with you saying before about the fact that you wanted to open it up a little bit more to a broader audience, I think it's also going to bring a lot more theme park enthusiasts into the community. I think
also,
it's help a lot.
We don't want to limit it to just British people listening to it, because it's very easy for us to talk about Blackpool and opening weekend. But I've done a couple of American interviews and kind of having to explain the whole backstory of what opening weekend is, and the fact that parks open in February, and the fact that we all go to Spoons in the evening, you know, all that kind of, there was a lot to get through. So we're looking at ways, as I said, to make it work if we do version 2 or sequel or whatever, to make it work for everyone, because it's ultimately a fish out of water story about someone who, as I always say, is a closeted theme park fan. He loves them. He goes to opening weekend on his own. I remember when I went to opening weekend on my own for the first time, it's incredibly nerve-wracking. You know, you see all these vloggers in the crowd and you want to go up to them and you want to be famous. So that's exactly what this story is about. It's about accepting the fact that you like this weird thing that we all like, and embracing that. And that's, you don't have to know what an RMC is to get that message. It just you know, in listening to musical, you're told what an RMC is. There's a whole song about what it's like to be a goon and what's important to you and things. So it's kind of, yeah, we are taking the audience along with that journey. So there's a massive rap song sung by the arch nemesis playing a parody of Jack Silkstone called Zac F. Stone. And that is telling people what's in this theme park at Blackpool. Why not have a rap song about ride types? You know, it just makes up, it's ridiculous. But because we treated it so seriously, it just works, I think. So there is certainly something for everyone. There's tango, there's rock, there's funk, there's scary music, there's music hall, there's the rap song, there's 80s rock, there's musical theatre, Les Mis, Wicked parodies and touching moments and stuff like that. So it really is, while Owen calls the score insanely eclectic, which I think is a good word. Insane.
It's very relatable for a lot of people, I think. Like, I can relate to like the main character of the fact that it's only recently that I've got into theme parks, and it's only from like because of Zoe, and she's brought me into the community, and now I've become a big fan. And I think it's going to be, a lot of people are going to be able to relate to the fact that it's going to be, oh, it's another thing, it's something else that I can like enjoy. And yeah, it's a lot of people have been like bullied for the fact that they enjoy that kind of thing, like the same with me. Like, I was bullied for the fact that I like musicals, but you know, it's anything. And I think a lot of people will just go,
how dare you like the world's most popular art form? It's a horrendous thing to do.
I know, it's so silly. But it's that thing, like, it's something that people kind of go, oh, I'm just going to hide this from the world because I don't know how people are going to cope with the fact that this is what I like. Yeah. I think with the musical, by the sounds of it, it's going to be very much like oh, okay, this is an okay thing. Like, I can do this.
It's also about the length someone will go to become famous. And that's the kind of the interesting turn this story takes, which we also see a lot of, is, you know, people might spread a rumor, or they might say something silly that has a kind of bigger effect. And it is learning about what this community is about and learning, you know, the do's and don'ts. So I think it's you know, we're not slapping you over the face with a message, but there is a very kind of, you know, important thing that this show does say, it just says it in a very funny and relatable way, which is what I'm very happy about.
I think that's going to work really well for a lot of people. Just the way that you've done it and the way that people have been talking about it is just very much like something that you can, well, again, it's relatable. So I think it's just going to become a very big thing quite quickly.
Hope so. It'd be a massive shame if it doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's weird because I've kind of seen some of the process, but not obviously all of it. I'm very much not involved in
Yeah, and as I said, the weird thing is the people involved, they record their line, they send it to me. They don't know what the story is. They don't know how their line, like John Wardley, for example, he has a very small cameo in it. It's about 2 lines, but it's not what you expect. And I think if he were to hear it, he'd think, oh, that's actually really quite clever and funny. So yeah, obviously the main cast, we've all had read-throughs and we know what's happening, but the cameos, you know, Jack Silkstone, Kip Hakes, Michael Bolton, Mikey and Hannah from Scare Track, Pontus, you know, all these people have just sent little tiny lines and they're in there, but they don't know the bigger picture, so they're all really excited to hear it as well, which is
really cool. I actually really like that concept.
Yeah.
Like, just send them the lines, it'll be fine.
Like, we're in this musical, we're not going to tell you what it's about for a very long time. You have to wait and see. Yeah, it's worked really well. And that's it. You know, it's interesting. I've done so many interviews, but it's lovely talking to you because I now feel that I really get what the show is after I've kind of, because I don't listen to it anymore, but just thinking about it and talking about it with various people, I'm getting a real idea in my head. I mean, I've always known from the beginning what it should be, but now I know what it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not a performer, as if you were ever to hear the demos, you'd very soon realize. So it was great to strip away all my dumb vocals from the demos and actually have sort of real singers come on, but also the fact that because they are cameos, it doesn't really matter that they sort of can't sing because it's so charming and wholesome. It's like pantomime, you know, you see the celebrity from Corrie or whatever, they're trying to do their tap dance and they're doing their best. And that's something the Brits really love, is kind of just not accepting failure, but we don't mind it when people kind of stumble a bit. And that's the difference in American culture and our culture, I think. If you look at American sitcoms, it's all about the hero. If you look at British sitcoms, it's all about the victim, whether it's Basil Fawlty or Victor Meldrew or Del Boy, all these people that are desperate to be. I'm going way off on a tangent here, but you know, it's.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that because it is very community driven and it's people that we associate with and like are friends with, or like we know from being, oh, that's a famous theme park YouTuber type thing. I think that helps a lot, is the fact that it's someone to recognize. And I like that. And it's again that panto thing of it's the name, but it's really not, because they are part of us as well in that sense. And it's someone that we can again relate to. I like that. And I think a lot of other people is probably going to say the same thing, of just the fact that it's people that you kind of know and have seen like on YouTube, but it's very different for them and they're out of their comfort zone, helping the community come together. And I like that.
We'll put that on the poster. That's amazing. That's lovely. And yeah, I mean, it is weird that the example I like to give, which I mentioned, is you've got Jack Silkstone, who has a cameo in the show, but then you've also got Arch Nemesis playing a parody of Jack Silkstone. So it's very, very bizarre. But I'd rather have someone play a parody of Jack Silkstone than have Jack Silkstone do it, because it becomes more otherworldly.
Yeah.
It's like someone's picked up Blackpool, moved it a couple of miles down the road and plonked it in a completely different location, because we don't mention Pleasure Beach, we don't mention any ride names, we don't mention any brand names, because you have to again think about, can this have a future? We have to treat it as a a viable product from the beginning. And I don't think when I announced it, I don't think that's what people are or were expecting. I think someone said on Twitter very amusingly, like, "Oh, can you do a rap song to the Smiler theme and things like that?" I said, no, this is a proper 70-minute book musical with book music and lyrics all integrated with each other. We have talking and then we have singing when there's no emotions left for speaking, and then normally you don't see it, but there are dance breaks in this, so there would be a dance, and that's the order of, the hierarchy of emotions in musicals, which I'm sure you know. So yeah, we are treating this as a proper piece of, I don't want to say art because that's really pretentious, but we are treating it as a proper piece of musical theatre. The word art is in there somewhere, so that'll do.
At the end of the day, you've got to think about the fact that you're potentially going to make this grow even further, put it on a stage, put it on.
I hope so. I mean, it's there are no stages at the moment, so who knows? But it would be lovely. I see it being more film because it is all about vlogs, and if you could do the whole thing told from Jamie's point of view, that could be quite clever.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Hole sing-along vlog, to go back to Neil Patrick Harris and stuff like that. It could all be done with webcams and people filming portrait. And yeah, so there's many different ways we can take this, but I think we, as I said, we've done the best with the art, the way we're doing it, I think. Other than doing it via Zoom, which just sounds way too technical and difficult for, to have everyone's in sync, and it just sounds like a nightmare.
So, getting a bit musically geeky here, but what was the inspo for the score? Because obviously you said the fact that there's lots of different elements from different shows and also different genres and whatever. What was that kind of?
I don't want to say the inspiration for the score, but the inspiration for the structure was Book of Mormon, which again is a very broad comedy about something which the audience might not know much about, but we learn about it. We laugh at it sometimes. I'm sure Mormons go to the show and laugh at themselves. And the kind of, there's a sort of nod to Book of Mormon at some point in the show, but it's about the fish out of water thing. So there's lots of parallels with that. Wicked was a big influence as well. So Jamie's kind of first big song is very much built on the structure of The Wizard and I. And then the Act 1 ending is very much Defying Gravity. And then his kind of song towards the end of Act 2 is very much, what is it called? No Good Deed. And then the kind of final ballad is very much For Good. So you have that kind of same, we all love Wicked. So, it's not done, we didn't sit down to say, let's rip off Wicked. It just so happened that because Wicked is such a well-structured show with a very strong character, that's the kind of way it led. And so that musically, there's so much going on. I just wrote the music that I would enjoy in a musical, really. There's nods to Hamilton, there's nods to Evita, there's nods to Book of Mormon, as we said, nods to Wicked, nods to Les Mis, nods to Billy Elliot, nods to not Rent, because it's dreadful, nods to Sweeney Todd, nods to Gypsy, anything from a lighting cue to a bit of what's happening in the orchestra, all subtle things, but for me, they're there. And if you're a real musical theatre aficionado, you'll find them as well. And some people have heard it and said, oh, that's a reference to this show. And I go, yeah, that's what I meant. Sure, I'll take that. But, we as writers of musicals, especially, we have our influences, and we're always pushing that out into our own songs. So there might be lots of subconscious influences as well. But does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Cool.
So has this kind of been, with the tracks and stuff like that, has that been from the word go, you knew what you would wanting to achieve, and then you kind of built that up with the people who have got involved? Or was that a very much, no, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, you've done it kind of thing?
Well, it had two phases really. So this is a musical with Owen and Ryan and Harry narrating it. That was it. And then when it took off, it became, oh, okay, we can actually make these be. At some point, there's like 25 people singing in this musical, with Owen also adding 14 different vocal layers and being a gospel choir and stuff like that. So there's a big sound, and it just became, with the kind of cameos, it was very, this is what you're singing, do it. And then I would hear it and think, okay, well, that doesn't work. Can I cut that person's line and then replace it with that line, or can I make this a duet? So it was more kind of me just tinkering around with everything, sometimes keeping it as everything and sometimes stripping it down to be kind of a line here, a line there, then build upon that and then do this. And then, so but it's always collaborative. You have to go to Dylan, the director, and say, how about this? And you have to go to Owen, who's the kind of what we would call the musical supervisor. He would say, well, for example, the ending of Act 1 is a bit where the entire orchestra cuts out and it's just a cappella. I felt that moment, but I put it somewhere else. And then Owen said, no, have it here, and then have the orchestra come back here. I go, oh, yeah, that works really well. Fine. That's the kind of, and a collaboration is good if you forget who came up with which idea or which lyric, because it should just kind of bleed so seamlessly with everything. 90% of it's mine, but I know Ryan in his first big song suggested some lyrical changes, which we put in. Archie did the rap song, we wrote the lyrics for that together, and we built the song together. And he used his amazing, you've never heard anything like this before. I mean, it's quite impressive what he does, skills to do that. So it kind of, everyone, the core creative team and the core cast were more involved than the people who just had a singing line here and a singing line there, because you just don't want to reveal too much about the show. You want their little part, you get it, and that's that.
Nice. So with that, what's your favourite song?
Oh God, there is a scene, there's this moment in the show which is so joyous and happy, and it's something that every single person in the country can relate to. It's not at all about music. It's not at all about roller coasters. And I love the fact that the song lands, if you're listening to it live on Saturday night, the song lands at like 8 in the evening. And that will give you an idea as to what the song is about. It's such a big tradition of opening weekend. You have to have a song about spoons in the show. And it's a song that is most takeawayable, if that makes sense. Your mum could listen to it and enjoy it. My mum listened to it and laughed, because it's the kind of one moment. I mean, there's lots of that isn't set in the theme park, so it's kind of, this song could be a meme, I don't know, or something. But so that's my favorite. But they're all good, mostly because everyone involved in it is so good. That's what's so nice about it. I grew tired of it just being me, and when I think the first time I put Ryan into the kind of opening monologue he has, I did kind of feel very, very emotional, because all I'd heard doing that speech and the sing for 10 months was me, which isn't a very nice sound. And to have a real singer come in who understands the role, who's acting it, it was incredibly, like, almost symbolic for me to delete my vocal track and put his in. And I just kept doing that for the whole show. And that's been lovely for everyone. So I like all the songs, but I really like the one I mentioned, because Owen did such a phenomenal job with it. It's just the most rip-roaring performance. And it has one of my favourite spoken lines in the whole show, which is a great pun. If you know Ruby Withers, it has a good pun in it. But they're all great. All the ensemble numbers are great. All the solo numbers are great. Ryan's stuff is incredibly difficult. and he rose up to it like a champ. Yeah, so it's I like them all. It's really hard to answer that question because I like asking other people what their favorite song is, because everyone says a different answer, which is great, which means that people like all the songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you're putting this on stage, obviously we've kind of said about doing the video stuff as well. Have you got an idea on what kind of lighting you want, the sound you want, the sound effects?
The lighting you'll see in the show, that is the whole. There was a lighting rig in this video that's going up, and it's all the cues are in the show, so you get lights coming on and lights going off and fading in and fading out, and there's no actors on stage, which is quite ironic considering that's what the world is at the moment. But yeah, we would do that. The problem is the main pros art that Kieran's designed will cost £20,000 at a minimum, because there's a lot going on in that. And so we were kind of going with a fantasy budget here, but there could be many ways of doing it. You could have a completely digital set if you're involving videos and vlogs and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways you could do it. It's just so happened we've gone with quite a sort of, there's an interview with Kieran that he put up yesterday where he talks about, we wanted to get the pros arch right, and then the rest of the show was really easy to design around that. And so many shows are having great fun with pros arches at the moment, like Wicked. The Mary Poppins pros arch in London is amazing, how it just bleeds out into the auditorium. Matilda as well, that bleeds out into the auditorium. That's what we wanted to do. We would have festoons going out into the audience, and bloody hell, probably have a roller coaster drop down at some point and things. But it's all fantasy, but you have to kind of treat it with a real, okay, let's imagine we've been given a budget. We have a theatre space, which in our case was the Stoke Rep, because that's the one Kieran had a model of. He's worked for set design for them before. And we just built this set. And it says, the minute you would technically walk into the theatre, it says everything you need to know about the show. And, for me, when I got the video a couple of days ago, and the iconic thing happens in a theatre that happens when a show starts, I was actually quite moved. And that's all I'll say. But it's just nice little touches like that and details.
So is it quite an immersive thing? It's very much the audience gets involved, or is it very much
if it were in a theatre, I think it would be, we would use smells. We do have the smell that you can get. I think there's a lot of there's a big moment where the fourth wall doesn't break, it gets practically blown up. And I'll leave it at that. It's not immersive in the fact that the audience can change the outcome of the story. But there are jump scares, and there will be moments of pitch black, and there are, so we are kind of treating it as much of a theme park experience as which you'd have to, because it is about theme parks. So we would certainly want to use smells. We certainly want to have lots of surround sound effects. Maybe at the beginning, all the goons could run through the audience and take photographs of guests and put them on the screen. I don't know. I mean, the possibilities are endless. But as far as this production is concerned, yes, you have the stuff you watch, you have the experience that you hear, and do use headphones, please. And you have the smell, which you can get, which is kind of making it into a bit of a theme parky thing, because it's done by Roma Prime, who were founded in Blackpool. So it's all very cool that the smell is literally called Theme Park Fan the Musical. And it smells of sea air, that kind of salty freshness, and damp wood, new wood, bit of steel thrown in, bit of candy floss. So it's this kind of really, it's not a horrible smell, because I know when some people think, oh, it smells of Blackpool. No, it's quite pleasant. And I think that's it wasn't our idea, it was a Roma Prime that came to me and said, we could do a smell for this and donate the profits to charities. Like, yeah, sure, fine. This whole thing is weird enough as it is. Why not have a smell based around it? And And yeah, for like £14, you can have a little memento of this musical added with the program. I'm actually getting my program printed and being sent to me tomorrow, which I'm really excited about, which I'll show you. Yeah, so it's immersive as it can be when we're all not allowed out. Yeah, but hopefully one day it could become a full immersive experience.
Okay, so what are you most proud of throughout this whole thing? What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of the fact that we have raised nearly £200 for charity. I think that is an astonishing display of kindness, as is people taking their time, but for people to give so with such abundance is amazing. And the show isn't even released yet, so that's what blows everyone's mind involved with this, is that we've hit our target, like 280% we've made of our £500 target, and we're working for the charity is called Calm, and it's a campaign against living miserably, which is a mental health charity, which is for obvious reasons at this time. People are struggling, and it's just our absolute pleasure to see this every day, this figure go up. And so we do encourage you to donate. You don't have to donate. The show is free to listen to, but please, if you enjoyed it, donate. If you didn't enjoy it, also donate. Show your disdain by donating. That would be wonderful. But it's that's been the thing we're most proud of, because we've loved doing it. It hasn't been a huge effort. But Alan Menken, who wrote every Disney song that you probably ever sung in your life, gave us money. The wonderful website Blue Loop, which is a theme park industry news website, gave us a very generous donation. It's just things like that are just weird. It's so weird that we have brought the community together in a very good way with this show, and that every day that goes by, I'm reminded more and more of that, and that's of what I'm most proud. Plus the fact I've written a musical in a year, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's only a little thing,
Yeah. But we so could have gone down the route of, let's raise money for ourselves because we're all struggling artists. But that never crossed our minds. It was always, let's do this for charity. Let's do it for this charity. And that was Dylan that spearheaded that, and that was amazing. And yeah, so that's what I'm most proud of.
I guess everyone's done it out of the love of doing it as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Again, lockdown, the passion for it, the kind of desire to see it happen as well. I think there's this weird kind of taboo, like, is this a thing that could actually happen? Yes, let's try it. That people have, and I think people love songs, and people love songs about things they love. That's why love songs are so popular. So our show just happens to have a love song to a roller coaster in it, and it's something that people just really enjoy doing, which is awesome.
Nice. So I think I've come to my last question. Mm-hmm. Are there any sneak peeks that you can tell us?
I can tell you. Well, I can play you some sneak peeks, or let me see what I can do here. And this is when we first meet Jamie in his B&B, and this is what we hear.
What is a theme park musical? This is Harry from Coasterbot, and I'm here to tell you a lovely story about acceptance, friendship, new creds, community, and all that stuff. So, come with us to Blackpool, where every theme park fan in the country has headed during a cold weekend in February for some reason, as you meet newest community member, Jamie.
Hi, Welcome to my first ever vlog. My name is Jamie and I'm a brand new theme park fan. I've never told anyone that before. It felt good. Anyway, I'm here in a beautiful B&B in Blackpool and I've hardly slept at all. Thinking about today. For today is the day I finally get to call myself part of a group, a unique group of people just like me. Welcome to opening weekend and the theme park community.
Yeah, so that's the little kind of prologue-y thing.
I'm excited.
Quite Disney, quite almost Europa Park like, and yeah, then it goes a bit mental. But yeah, it makes no. I've said in other interviews, and I'll say it here as well. It makes no pretense that it's a musical. It's very, very firmly a musical, as you can tell. And you know, I think if you go in knowing that, you're going to have a really fun time. If you go in not knowing that, you might be a bit miffed.
I honestly can't wait. I'm so excited.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Wow, it's been amazing to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on. And
okay.
yeah, I can't wait till tomorrow.
Good.
Right. I shall say goodbye.
Bye. Thank you. See you at 7:30.
Yes, see you tomorrow.